Hello everybody, welcome back. The first video got cut off, so you might want to watch that one before you watch this one because otherwise it will not make sense. Sorry about that, and thank you for the understanding. And if you want to grab your coffee and share one with me while you're at it, links for that one below. So anyway, I was telling you that last century, this data was probably also not as shared as others, but it was better. What do you mean? Well, if you wanted to travel between city A and city B a century ago, people will welcome you. People will welcome you because people from the 14 towns that are in the middle, people will welcome you because that means that you're probably going to stop. That means that you're going to eat in there. You're going to have services like the inn. You're probably going to buy something. You probably want to buy a souvenir. You probably want to have your hair done. Just because it's an important day for you, or you are near the city and you do not want to go into the city, looking like a mess, or anything like that. And so people will welcome you. During hard times, if you are going through these areas and you happen to still find the 14 towns, you are going to become a victim, very likely. Because people are poor, very, very, very poor. And you being there means that they get a chance to steal things from you. They are not going to welcome you because this is not a business. During hard times, people don't travel as much. And here's the deal. During a century ago, people had a sense of adventure. People traveled from city A to city B, and people knew the countryside, and people knew a lot of things, and the towns and everything. And it gave them a sense of adventure and fulfillment. And this sense of adventure and fulfillment was lost once we got the cars. Because once you got a car, now you can go from city A to city B, and you do not have to actually go through the roads. You don't actually have to see the environment. You don't actually have to see where are you going to stay. You see, a century ago, if there was no hotel because everything was already filled, how are you going to handle that? And I'm talking a century ago, so you can't think about glamping. And you can't think about, buying a lot of tents and things like that the way that you do right now. And you can't think about electricity in these towns the same way that you will think about electricity in your city right now. So there was a sense of adventure because you might need to actually, open your car. Well, in this case, there was no car. In this case, there were wagons, and there was you going by other means. And so you gotta think about what an adventure means in hard times and in this situation. If you were going to travel and you're going to probably not find an inn and not find a shelter, you gotta find a shelter somehow. Because it's not like you're going to sleep on the middle of the road with, under the stars, because if it is raining, you're probably going to be in big issues. So you might need to carry more things. If you need to carry more things the way that people used to carry them, can you do that right now? See what I mean? There is a lot of things that you do not consider, and that is because you are not thinking the way that our ancestors did it 100 years ago. And not only you are not thinking about solving an issue like our ancestors did it 100 years ago, but our ancestors did not have to fight people. Our ancestors did not have to go every turn saying, oh, there is a gang every other town, because there wasn't such a thing. I mean, I'm sure that there is such a thing in certain countries right now, but it wasn't like that 100 years ago here. So this begs the question: there is a lot of people that will certainly leave the cities. The reason being that, in the cities you have a lot of money, but you have a lot of emptiness. You don't have social connections, and you don't have a sense of adventures. So how do you get a sense of adventures, and how do you get from point A to point B in a safe way, and what do you do about all of these things that are being miscalculated? And the answer is, you are going to find out, because it will all depend upon the culture of the surrounding areas from city A and city B, because city A might have people that are optimistic, and they want to travel, and they are willing to build the roads, to maintain the road, and they're willing to expand and even trade with city B. But city B might be kind of like, nope, we are not maintaining the roads. No, we have very limited resources. We don't want anybody else here. No, we're not doing it. No, we're not trading. No, we're not doing this. So you might have to figure this one out depending upon the culture of that particular area. And you will also have to figure out whether there are gangs or not. And you will have to figure out how are you going to transport everything that you need for shelter when there is no guarantee that you will get a shelter. By the way, you will certainly always prefer to have a lot of cash to pay for shelter, especially if you're a woman with kids, because you will need to take a shower, even if it is from a bucket. You will need to clean yourself, you will need to do a lot of things, and you cannot travel with a lot of water. There is people that will actually travel with a lot of water and gasoline in their cars, but that is people that are in areas that are like they were 100 years ago, in which there are roads that if you stop there, you will very likely need God's help to get out of there. And I do mean God's help, like a miracle, God's kind of help thing for you to move during the roads, during this situation. And so Google is wrong when you are doing the mapping thing. Google is wrong when it's telling you where to turn, because most of the times maps are not updated in terms of the roads. Meaning, bridges will collapse, and if the bridge collapses, Google doesn't know. And if it doesn't know, it will send you through the bridge, because it doesn't assume that there is a bridge there. It's just a road. You are going there because the map is saying that there is a road, but there is no bridge because the bridge collapsed. So how are you going to handle that? So a lot of things will happen in which Google or your Google map or your application or things like that will go wrong. And not only they will go wrong, but how do you plan when there is only route A and route B according to your GPS system or the Google map thing or whatever, and actually both the route A and route B doesn't work. They don't work. You need a new plan. You need a route C. And the problem with route C is that it will take you on an adventure. And your sense of adventure when you are going through a hard time is going to be severely limited, because most people will always rather just choose to be comfortable. As in, why go from city A to city B when you can just do a phone call with a Zoom or a WhatsApp or Telegram or whatever it is, the app that you're using for communication. A Facebook call or Skype or whatever it is. Why go there when you can use the app and things like that? And so people will be always, aware of the commodity of having internet and the commodity of doing this. And your sense of adventure is going to be like, I'm in a video game. And, we're going to be moving from this and to that, and then we're going to be doing this and this and that. And it's not going to look like that. It's actually going to look like a 15-kilometer journey per day, and it's going to look like days from a from a journey that used to take you 2 or 3 hours, and it's going to take a lot of stops, and it's going to take a lot of resources. Because if you're thinking, okay, if I go with the car and I have food in the car, if there is a roadblock or whatever, I can manage. No, because if you're going to take 13 days traveling rather than 2 hours, or let's say you're going to take 14 days rather than one day, in 14 days, how many times do you go to the bathroom? How many times do you need a shower? How many times do you need to stop to just make coffee or drink coffee or something like that? And how many times do you need to eat? And how many times do the kids need to stop just because you have to stretch your legs? And how many times do you have to stop for sleeping? And all of these things will come into play when there is no fuel. And when there is no towns that you can go into. And so some towns will be welcoming you because you are a customer. But for some towns, you are an intruder. And so it's going to be big. I mean, even in during a movie, there are people that go, yeah, let's go to that island. Yeah, except for the fact that if there is people in this island and there is a zombie apocalypse, people will be very aware of newcomers, and people will be very aware of the shores. And if they see you coming from mainland, they are probably going to attack you and kill you because they might think that you are actually infected. So there are a lot of things that people do not consider, throughout hard times, and they will be mostly depending upon the culture. And depending upon the physical reality of people, you might be misunderstanding the whole situation. And so what appears to be one way, it will go the other way. Because, like I said, Google isn't always right. And you might need to know, the situation before you do something, and then you are like, something went wrong. Yeah, try again. Yeah, only this time you can't, because you might not be able to try again because this isn't a video game. So you need proper information. So it's important that you understand how to calculate distances properly, and how to calculate time properly, and how to calculate your sense of adventure properly. And of course, this will also depend upon your temperament, because if you're the type of person that hates being uncomfortable and certain things, then you might have a very hard time mentally and emotionally, versus other people that will be okay about it. So I'm just saying that nothing seems to be okay in terms of doing calculations just based upon books and appearances. You actually need some sort of experience, and for that you might need to understand your ancestors. And for that you might need to actually go back to maybe your grandmother kept a diary, and if she kept a diary, maybe you can ask for her permission so that you can read it. Reading from somebody else's diary, that obviously with their permission, without making a mess, because obviously you're not going to share information that is irrelevant for what you're looking for. But it's important because it will help you, because real life comes from actual life. It doesn't come from your logic. It just comes from experience.